Hey everybody, MTGOrzo here with another Commander overview. You know what that means? We got to start our next Commander Gauntlet. This time, we've got this bitch. Mayael the Anima. Another Alara General, just like old Cedrus. Mayael is a 2/3 for 3, Legendary Elf Shaman, with basically one of the most fun activated abilities you can do in Commander. You can pay 3 and Naya to look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may put a creature card with power 5 or greater from among them onto the battlefield. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. So what this deck does is this deck ramps, and it ramps hard, up to big, huge dudes with power 5 or greater. So, just like before, I'm going to talk a little bit about the theory of the deck. Gonna go through my card choices, and then we're gonna take it through about 10 games. You know the drill, I know the drill, so let's go ahead and get started about the theory of this deck in particular. So with just a cursory glance at this, you can see that our early curve especially is almost entirely green. That is because I need a shitload of ramp, because we need to get to Gisela, we need to get to a Chroma, we need to get to a Terastodon. Like, we got stuff to do up here. And Mayael has Kill Me written on her, so we need to get up and do that. This deck is similar to Cedrus in that it functions without the general, but the general adds to the feel of the deck to make it kind of unique. There's something different then, like, you could just cast a Balefire Dragon, you could just cast a Sphere Breaker Behemoth, but if you hit it at the end of turn with a Mayael, it just feels so much better because you can get to pick it. It's fun. It's random. Shut up. I like it. So here is the deck. So we've got lands. We've got Ancient Tomb. Ancient Tomb is good. You should run it. We've got Shocks. We've got Buddies. Mantower. We got some fetches. I think I own all of the Khan's fetches now, and I'm pretty sure all of them but Polluted Delta are in here. We've got forests, Jungle Shrine, similar to Crumbling Necropolis. Croson Verge is a very cool land that you get to run in green, white, X. I do like it. Being able to, like, hit it early off of a Soul Ring is always really good. Having ramp on a land is exactly what this deck wants to do. And, like, if you don't need the ramp, it still makes a mana. Like, it's gonna be fine. Mountains. Only 2 plains, because it should probably only be 2 mountains now that I'm thinking about it. So let me fix that. Yeah, so we've got 3 plains, 2 mountains. Like, we needed 4 forests. I used to have a 3-3-3 split, but I hadn't actually looked at the list since I built it and played with it, and it just has way too much early green stuff. But I never seem to miss land. This deck is very consistent on its mana base, owing to the fact that I own all of the duels in these colors. I have Plateau, Savannah, and Taiga. If I can find them. Taiga. Because they're so cheap. They're so damn cheap. They're like $1.50 for the non-blue duels. So there's really no reason to run them. We got Raging Ravine. We got Rootbound Crag. We also have a Raging Ravine. Just a little extra man lands. It's Stirring Wildwood in a similar vein. We got Shocks. We also have Strip Mine. Scrylands, very fun. Temple of the False Gods gets us to 6 mana on turn 5 with no other ramp. Any other cool lands? No. So let's go on. We got Mana Crypt. It's good. Just fucking read the card. We're in whites, so we run Path to Exile and Swords to Plowshares. I personally really love running the off-color 1 green mana dorks like Abyssin's Pilgrim or Elves of the Deep Shadow. So Abyssin's Pilgrim makes the cut over a Llanowar Elves or something similar. We have Birds of Paradise, which makes all of our colors. Worldly Tutor lets us get what we want when we want it. Great. Enlightened Tutor should be in this deck, as it should be in any white deck, but compared to the other tutors, it is incredibly expensive. We have Mana Vault, one of the few decks I think Mana Vault is good in because we need to get up. We need to get up fast. Getting a turn 2 Gilded Lotus is some hot shit. Love it. Soul Ring, similarly fast. Very good. Play it. I run Disenchant, mostly because I had the full art one. I know there are better variants, but I really like Disenchant. Get off my ass. Nature's Lore, Sakura Tribe Elder, and 3 visits constitute our 2-drop Mana Acceleration alongside the Signets. I love the Signets. Boros, Gruul, and Selesnya. We have Survival of the Fittest and Sylvan Library for our busted 2-mana green enchantments that let us sculpt our hand incredibly well. And 3 mana, we've got Chaos Warp, a way to deal with commanders until this summer, in which it will come out. We got Ramp, we got Farhaven Elf, Kadama's Reach, Wood Elves. I don't run Cultivate in here because I'm a huge weeb, so I run Kadama's Reach. We've got Fierce Empath for some tutoring, Eternal Witness for some recursion, Reclamation Sage, one of the cool cards printed recently. Normally to get this effect you'd have to get a what was it called? Harmonic Sliver, which was 1 white and a green and cost like $5. So Reclamation Sage is a relevant creature type with a respectable body that does really everything we need a 3-drop elf to do in this deck that isn't named Mayael the Anima. Fires of Yavimaya, pretty much in this deck, strictly better than Fervor. Getting all your guys' haste is a powerful ability. Or Power Stone, just got a ramp. Flame Tongue Kavu for 4 mana that includes red. You can hard pressed to get card advantage like Flame Tongue Kavu. He sadly cannot be fetched with Mayael, but I believe he is good enough to make do without. Defense of the Heart. This card is busted. This card is dumb and stupid. This card is, at the beginning of your upkeep, if an opponent controls 3 or more creatures, sacrifice Defense of the Heart. If you do, Tooth and Nail. If that doesn't, tickle your fancy, you probably should look into killing yourself. We've got Nylea, God of the Hunt, to give everything trample. The other ability is irrelevant. Impromptu Raid. So, okay, I'm going to take a minute. So we have Impromptu Raid, and we've got Killer Instinct. And we've got Lurking Predators. All of these cards play into the lottery feel of Anima. So with Impromptu Raid, you can pay 2 and a red or a green, reveal the top card of your library. If it isn't a creature card, put it into your graveyard. Otherwise, put that card onto the battlefield. That creature gains haste. You sacrifice it. So it's kind of like Cedrus's Unearth ability for the top of your library. And it's just fun. Like, I will cast this card over Mayael 100% of the time I can. Like, I love Impromptu Raid. Similarly, I love Killer Instinct and Lurking Predators. We've got Spellbreaker Behemoth. He can get hit. He's the smallest guy, I believe, in our deck that can get hit off of a Mayael, and he makes all of our big dudes uncounterable. And it has really kind of tongue-in-cheek flavor text that I enjoy. We have Iroas, God of the Hunt. So this deck can reasonably play a lot of the gods, and Iroas is a good way to ensure that your guys get through. I think Mayael hits every single god in the colors, so we actually play Nylea, we play Iroas, and we play Xenagos. Perforos isn't great in this deck, neither is Heliod, and similarly Karametra's not very good, but the ones that do interact with our creatures like Nylea, Iroas, and Xenagos are all very good. Quicksilver Amulet. Wait, hold on. He's just a 7/4, indestructible, can't be blocked by 2 or more creatures, prevent all damage that would be dealt to my attacking creatures. Like, for 4 mana, hitting them off of a Mayael is insane. We've got a Quicksilver Amulet, which gives all your guys uncounterability and flash, basically. So if you have an 8 mana dude like a Terastodon, you can pay 8 mana through a Quicksilver Amulet, which is always fun. Thread Anima ramps, Gilded Lotus ramps, Mirari's Wake ramps and anthems. All right, Mirari's Wake is probably my favorite card in all of green-white. I love this card to death. I love it. I think this card is so beautifully put together. It's a card that I'm looking to acquire in foil. I do like the actual art of the Mirari, but the old Judgment art is also very good, I will admit. We talked a little bit about Xenagos. Xenagos makes our huge dudes like Gisela or Bogarden Hellkite. Really everything but a Chroma Angel of Wrath makes them huge and undealable with. We've got Garruk Primal Hunter, the first of our Planeswalkers. I think he is the only Planeswalker in the deck. Yes, he is. So because he can draw us an inordinate off cards, and Mayael has a hard time keeping cards in her hand. So usually his first and third ability aren't relevant. I mean, if we don't have anything, we'll put out the +1 to get a beast. But we really just want to get that -3, -3ing off of a Terastodon or anything with Xenagos. Just, you know, your pants get just a little bit tighter. We've got Seaborn Muse. You know, recently outclassed by Prophet of Kruphix, but you can't run Prophet of Kruphix in Mayael, and Seaborn Muse lets me Mayael again, and I'm a fan of that. We've got Karmic Guide. Karmic Guide unfortunately does not get hit by Mayael, but it gets back all of our other huge dudes. We've got Baneslayer Angel, another very cheap card that is feasible to cast with 5 power, and you know, Baneslayer is good. I remember when I started playing, this card was $50, $60. This card was expensive. It's beautiful. It's got just keywords on it. And, you know, Dragons of Tarkir came out. I've played games with this deck where protection from dragons has just been a pain in my opponent's anus. So, 6 drops. Powerful. We got Austere Command. Probably the best Wrath at 6. We can kill little dudes, even if that includes Mayael, but we get to keep around our huge idiots. We've got Sun Titan. He is hit off of Mayael, and he grabs back our destroyed Soul Rings early drops, fetch lands, and Vigil at 6/6 keeps getting back value. You can get cute with Sun Titan and in the Strip Mine lock, but you know, I do that sometimes. You might see that. Get the fuck off your high horse. We got Lurking Predators. So similarly to the other 2 cards, one of them is mandatory, one of them I put mana into, and then Lurking Predators is based off of how greedy my opponents get with spells. This card is fun. It turns all of my opponent's spells into a nightmare, honestly. The card's just fun to play with. We have Paleoloth. Probably one of the weaker cards, because it doesn't trigger itself, and I definitely thought it did when I built this deck originally. So this card is kind of on the cutting floor, I'd say. Cutting room floor, rather. I mean, it's good. It gets hit by Mayael. Mayael did the flavor text graciously, but usually if you get in a position where Paleoth is actually doing you some work, you're probably winning anyway. We've got Aurelia. The saddest creature that Mayael does not hit, because that effect is back-breaking. Getting all of your enormous idiots a second combat step is just more than we can want. We play this over some of the other enchantments that do that, or spells, because A, it's multi-use, and B, we have a Worldly Tutor and not an Enlightened Tutor. So similar to Baneslayer Angel, we have the newly printed Dragon Lord Dramoka. This card is just a beefed up, it's a beefed up Baneslayer Angel with less protection, but what I think is a more relevant ability. Your opponents cannot cast spells during your turn, and she cannot be countered. This card has honestly surprised me, and is probably now one of my favorite cards to come out recently. It's a well-designed creature. If I do my green-white deck, which I believe is Tolsimir right now, one of the first decks I ever built on here, it'll turn into a Dramoka deck. We have Steel Hellkite to deal with things. We have Wormcoil Engine because if you're going to pay 6 mana, it might as well be a Wormcoil Engine. 7 mana, we get to play some bigger dudes. Windburst Raptor gives all my dudes lifelink. Just a fun card, gets hit by Mayael. Why not play it? It's got cool art. Like, it's fun. Balefire Dragon, wipe the field. Like, this card, like, I played a lot of Innistrad draft. Like, this card was insane in Triple Innistrad. It's how do you beat a Balefire Dragon in Triple Innistrad? Stalking Vengeance, the ultimate wrath protection, and some of the coolest art on a red card. Like, that card art is just beautiful. Like, if you've got a huge army and you plop down a Stalking Vengeance, like, how are they supposed to deal with it outside Cyclonic Rift? The haste is honestly just icing on the cake at that point. We got Krosan Tusker because it is a 5 mana, or it is a 6 power dude that we can hit with Mayael, but we can also cycle it for an effect that is comparable to a Kadama's Reach. Spearbreaker Behemoth, another card that's maybe on the cutting room floor, or the cutting board. Man, I'm messing up all this. Some English major I am, but it's not as good as Avacyn. If I had an Avacyn, which is on the list of purchases for this deck, then I would cut Spearbreaker and add an Avacyn. But as it is, Spearbreaker is an okay substitute. The 1 mana at most points of the game when I can have a Spearbreaker out is irrelevant. We've got Gruul Rage Beast. So I'm going to talk a minute about how good this card is and how I never knew it existed until about 20 days ago. So, Gruul Rage Beast, when it or another creature enters the battlefield under my control, that creature fights target creature an opponent controls. This is not a mandatory ability, so you can screw yourself over if you have Death Touch dudes, or if your opponent has Death Touch dudes. But it's repeatable removal in green-red for playing huge dudes. So this card is busted. Like, it's not a survival of the fittest or anything. This card does way more than I thought an unplayable rare from Gatecrash would ever do. So kudos, Gruul Rage Beast. I've tutored for you with Survival of the Fittest on more than one occasion. You're one of the favorite cards I have to hit with Mayael. I can't sing the praise of this card enough. It's a wonderful card that I'm glad I found. We have Gisela, because dealing double damage is fun. Really, not much else to say. It's hard to come back from an unanswered Gisela. Speaking of things that are hard to come back from, all of these cards in my precious 8-drop slot are great. So we have a Chroma, Angel of Keywords. This card is probably the Nicol Bolas of this deck. If you can get this to stick around, you just sort of win. Not much to say about a Chroma. Normally, I'm not one to get foils on Magic Online, but I do love the dual deck art compared to the what is it? Onslaught art, I believe, of her, and the time shifted version. Like, I love Chippy's art on this. We've got Bogart and Hellkite, Primo Removal, Cedrus, All-Star. You know what he does. Dragonlord Atarka might go in this deck. I hear you saying, you put in the Dragonlord Jamoka, so where's Atarka? Atarka's not in here because he doesn't hit players. Like, he hits creatures or planeswalkers. Sometimes you just want to hit for 5, and then hit for another 5 in the air. And Bogart and Hellkite can do this. Maybe if Atarka ever stops getting played in Standard and it's not like $9, I'll pick one up for this deck. But as it stands, Bogart and Hellkite is like 2 cents. We got Archetype of Endurance. Way better than Asceticism in this deck because it can get fetched by Mayael. Gives all your dudes hexproof, and everyone else's loses has hexproof. So Sweet ability. We've got Terastodon for when you really need to end the game after you've ramped hard. And we've got Woodfall Primus when you need to only slightly end the game when you've ramped harder. Both of these are a great way to deal with problematic artifacts and enchantments that we don't run a lot of ways to deal with outside of like Disenchant. We've got one card left over here. Yeah, we got Green Sun Zenith. Just to grab green stuff. Like I'll usually use it to grab like choices that usually come out from Green Sun Zenith, from lowest to highest. Fierce Empath, so I can tutor for a tutor. Nylea to give all my dudes trample. Seedborn Muse to get cute with Mayael. Dramoka to start the beats. Rage Beast to kill a dude. And any number of 8-drop green creatures to just end the game. So, if you're looking at this deck and you've played Magic at all, you might be thinking, hey Orzo, where's your Sensei's Divining Top? And the answer to that great question is, I don't play with Sensei's Divining Top because I'm not a fan of the card. Like, it's great in Mayael. It can let you know whether or not you want to dig or anything, or you want to activate, but I don't like the card, so I don't play it. I think Sylvan Library is a fine enough card to facilitate some nice top decks, and I really just like to leave it to chance. I think that's part of the joy and the charm of this deck. It's part of the reason why I love playing it, haven't really gotten bored of it, and it's part of the reason why I chose it to follow up Cedrus as the next Commander Gauntlet. So, that's the deck. That's the 99, 35 lands, 34 creatures, 30 other. We're going to run this through some games over the next couple weeks. I'm MTGOrzo. This is Mayael.